beautiful jellyfish, it's Tracy.
And I'm John. How are you doing?
When I think about your name, and I'm just like, but you're Ginger, and like then you say John, it's weird. I think it's funny.
Should I introduce myself as Ginger? I'll do that. No, we can totally leave this in here too.
No, we're totally leaving this in here. This is great. No, I don't believe in blooper reels. This is just straight real talk.
Straight.
This is
All
just straight.
Real talk?
Real
talk. Was that a pun? Was that a pun? Blooper reel, real talk?
You can leave.
Alright.
Okay, bye. I'll do this video without you. Okay, I actually can't do this video without you because I don't know your deck.
I mean, yeah, I'd also kind of have to take this with me.
Yeah.
You kind of.
Yeah. Okay. What is this deck? We're doing a deck tech for you guys on like.
Like, Temur midrange in Modern. It's a brew of mine. It's really crazy and fun to play. It has a pretty good matchup against a lot of the format. It's kind of tricky to play, but I've been playing Magic for a long time, so it's really fun.
Yeah, it's a sweet deck, and it kind of does like a bunch of different things, and it has like that control aspect, but it's got like a bunch of really good value creatures or whatever. Just kind of like Temur good stuff.
It is really Temur good stuff.
Yeah.
I get to play with some of my favorite Magic cards, which is just always cool.
Yeah. Cool. So we're gonna start with creatures. First one, Tarmogoyf.
Big 4 of. One of my favorite creatures to play. Is really good at beaten face, really good at blocking, just does it all.
Yeah.
Great creature. We
were also talking about the new Eldrazi deck that's been popping up in Modern, and saying how like Tarmogoyf is probably one of the best creatures to like counteract like all the big Eldrazi that's going on, because things are really big and we just kind of need to deal with them, and Tarmogoyf is like one of those really good creatures. And sometimes your Tarmogoyf is bigger than their Eldrazi, which is really good. Yeah,
he's actually pretty good at fighting them on the ground, clogging it up, and then you can make profitable trades with like lightning bolts and stuff to kill their Eldrazi's.
Yeah.
And the 1 extra toughness on Goyf is actually very relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Goyf is pretty good. Pretty good. It's like really good actually.
It's mediocre at best.
Yeah.
It's a fine Magic card. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It has no abilities.
It's just a vanilla creature that's just big.
Yeah, just basically. A big vanilla creature.
Then we talk about Snapcaster Mage. I mean, like...
That is, like, my favorite Magic card.
Yeah.
Like, ever, with the exception of Lightning Bolt, and they're best friends. So...
They are!
Of course I would love to play my best friends with me, so... It's really good.
Yeah.
Most of the time, Snapcaster is hitting Lightning Bolt, or, like, a counter spell, but a lot of times it's Lightning Bolt, Snap Lightning Bolt people to death. It's really fun.
It's like... Snapcasters is, like, good. It's, like, I really like casting this one card, and then it's, like, you get to do it again, and it's, like, oh, this is so cool. And, like, it's just, like, a 2-1 at that point as well, which is really good. So, yeah, Snapcaster is, like, on point, on fleek, as the kids... I said that I don't like that phrase, and then I use it again. I'm really disappointed in myself. It's pretty
sometimes Snapcaster Mage is a really good ambush viper. He's really good at flashing in and blocking. He's also really good if you get into a grindier matchup and your opponent's just kind of sitting there doing nothing. You just flash him in and just get down with him. He's really good at beating.
Snappy is awesome. Cool.
Yep.
Then we're Kiki-Jiki. The deck runs it as a 1-of.
Yeah, Kiki-Jiki's really good. There's a lot of value creatures in this deck, like Snapcaster Mage, and then a couple of the other 1-ofs we're going to get to. And there's a fun 2-of that works really well with Kiki-Jiki, which we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, segue into Bounding Krasis. Or Krasis, whatever.
I think it's Krasis, but he's really good. He's really big. He's a 3-mana 3/3 with Flash, and he comes in and taps down your opponent's creatures. Whether you can use this like a tempo play, so if your opponent plays a blocker for your Tarmogoyf, you could just flash him in, tap it down, smash in with your Tarmogoyfs. A lot of times you play against like other mid-range decks, or like even Tron or something, where they put a Wormcoil engine into play, and you just tap it down, get in with your Goyf. They try to get in again on your turn to gain life, or on their turn to gain life, and you just tap it down and say no thank you. You know, Splinter Twin's banned. But, you know, Splinter Twin is kind of a copycat for Kiki-Jiki.
I mean, it really was, yeah.
Kiki-Jiki is the original one. And he pairs really well with Bounding Krasis. You make a few guys. Just a few.
And, like, Kiki-Jiki Snapcaster Mage just seems like...
Yeah, really, Kiki-Jiki really plus the majority of the creatures in this deck. Actually, every creature in this deck, with the exception of Tarmogoyf, is really good with Kiki-Jiki.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. Then Thragtusk. Thragtusk to me is one of those really undervalued, underplayed modern cards, because I think when people talk about green creatures in modern, they're talking about like Eternal Witness, Scavenging Ooze, Tarmogoyf, and Thragtusk doesn't get a lot of attention, and I think it should because it's awesome. And I think the really most important thing with Thragtusk is that it's when it leaves play, not when it dies. So like anyone's like, I'm gonna path it, you're like, cool, I get a 3/3.
Yeah, it's
really
very
good.
true. Thragtusk is just all around good value. I love Thragtusk. I've been playing with him since he was in Standard all the way to now. It's just, he's such a good creature. He comes down and gains you 5 life, which is such a big deal in a lot of matchups.
Yeah.
And the big body is nothing to like scoff at. It's super crazy. And the value of leaving creatures behind when you get into a grindy mid-range matchup, like Jund or Abzan, or some of your like control decks, like Grixis controllers, or something to that nature. Or even against Tron with like Oblivion Stone, they're trying to kill your stuff with that, and Thragtusk just leaves more attackers behind.
Basically. Super good. And the fact that like life totals matter a lot, definitely, especially when aggro is going to be taking up a good percentage of the meta now that Twin's gone, especially, I think like Thragtusk got better.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Then we have, is that Venser?
That is Venser
Dude.
Shaper Savant.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a promo. It's kind of, it's
really
a weird,
cool.
weird artwork.
Yeah, I like
But
it.
yeah, Venser. Whew. It's a counterspell. It's an
Creature.
unsummon. It's a bounce of land.
Yeah.
It counters uncounterable spells. There have been many a time where I've played against like a blue-white or Esper control player, and they go to like Venser. They go to Supreme Verdict me, and I just go, nah, I'll put that back in your hand. I've saved Tarmogoyfs from Abrupt Decays before. It's really good. Also against a Delve spell, it's just crazy good value.
Counterspells against Delve spells to begin with are just
But it's
fantastic.
even great when you put it back in their hand and they just can never cast it again because they
like
delve their whole
Remand it.
graveyard again.
Yeah, it's so good.
It does act like Remand, but one of the coolest things I've done with him recently was all the Tron players now, they play Ghost Quarters more often than not to play around things like Crumble to Dust. And they always leave open Ghost Quarters. And I was playtesting with a friend of mine, and I just like end of turn was able to play a Venser, bounce their Ghost Quarter, which is their only defense against Crumble to Dust, and then just untap and Crumble to Dust them.
Yeah.
It was
super sweet.
It was super awesome, and then he just proceeded to lose to the 2/2, which is just crazy.
I'm actually like thinking about playing around with Venser in like some future builds that I make because I just think he's so good. Like,
yeah, he's really good.
2/2 on top of that too.
Yeah,
and
he's got a good body.
I think it'd be really interesting in my Grixis control list because then you can you have Venser killed and then you kill against command Venser. That just seems like
that actually is it's something I want to do.
Yeah,
I wish I was playing black in this deck just for that.
Yeah.
The only downside to Venser is he's legendary.
It's very
He's
true,
the only creature that actually doesn't work with Kiki-Jiki.
Yeah.
You can make other Tarmogoyfs, which making a second Tarmogoyf is nothing to laugh at.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. Especially when they're really big.
Yep.
Then the deck runs an Eternal Witness, which is just
Eternal Witness
so good.
is just
It's
one of the best cards, like,
ever.
in my opinion, ever printed.
Yeah.
Like, Snapcaster is really good because it has flash, but then, you get rid of that spell and it's never there. But I've cast the same spell, like, 3 or 4 times in a game just between Eternal Witness. Like, I've cast, like, a Lightning Bolt, and then I'll Eternal Witness the Lightning Bolt, and then later I'll Venser the Eternal Witness to get back the Lightning Bolt, and then Snapcaster the Lightning Bolt. So you cast, like, 4 Lightning Bolts off of 1 copy.
Yeah.
That's some serious card advantage.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, and like Kiki-Jiki Eternal Witness seems like really sweet.
It is so hard to lose with the Kiki-Jiki and Eternal Witness and a Remand in your graveyard. You just remand the spell they play, and then you make a second Eternal Witness and you get it back, and you just remand it again.
With the Eternal
and you
Witness.
keep getting 2 ones to go with it too.
So
It's really good. The next
Yeah.
creature is also really good with Kiki-Jiki, Huntmaster of the Fells.
Yeah. Oh, this card's so good.
Yeah, I play one
Man.
of Huntmaster of the Fells. That is another card that I've been playing with since it was in Standard, and I've
sweet.
loved that card ever since.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I play with this deck, because I get to play with like my favorite cards I've been playing with for years. So when it comes into play, it makes a 2/2 and you gain 2 life.
Yeah, it's so good.
And then he flips over if no one casts any spells. Turns into a 4/4 that deals 2 damage to your opponent and to one of their creatures. So it just adds a blocker, it gains 2 life, it shoots them in the head for 2, probably kills one of their guys. It's just, it does everything.
I feel like it's like a better version of Kitchen Finks. Like it's like the 4-mana version of Kitchen Finks. Basically, that's better.
Yeah, it's yes and no Kitchen Finks, but the best part about Huntmaster the Fells is when you with this deck plays at instant speed a lot of the times, so you can pass your turn, not do anything, flip them into Ravager of the Fells, and then your opponent tries to do something, you remand it or Snapcaster remand it, and then your Huntmaster flips back over on your turn, and then you attack, and then you pass turn, and he flips back over. This deck is really good at flipping him back and forward, which is, when you could do that, you gain so much card advantage. And that's what this deck really wants to do, is just gain incremental card advantage from every one of its spells.
Yeah, super sweet. I've been wanting to play around with that card. I think it's like really, really awesome. Yeah. Cool. Then it runs a 1/of Vendilion Clique. This card's really sweet.
Yeah, Vendilion Clique. Yeah, that one's pretty sweet. Yeah. I like that artwork.
Me too.
Yeah, Vendilion Clique does everything. It has flash. It's a 3/1. It flies. It's a really good blocker. It's also really good playing it in your opponent's draw step to just kind of ruin everything they were planning on doing for that turn. It speaks for itself just how good it is.
Yeah, it's super good. And the fact that you have access to information, you can take a look at what's going on in their hand. I mean, recently, like, Modern's been under this really big, like, change, I think, with, like, a lot of hand disruption spells, like, more in particular with, like, the Eldrazi. I keep talking about the Eldrazi deck, but it's so hard not to when it's taking up a good percentage of the meta. It's kind of
scary how big that deck is right now.
It's insane. So yeah, the fact that you have access to information with Vendilion Clique is really good. It's a 3/1, like, flying dude. It's hard to get rid of. It's great. Then it runs a 1/of Xenagos. Or Xenagos, or whatever.
It's Xenagos the Reveler, the Planeswalker, not the God. I did think about running the God, but that's a little bit too ambitious.
Dude, I ran that when I had Bloom. It was sweet.
You want to hear a funny story? So I was at Star City Games Regionals in Providence this past weekend, and I wrote Xenagos God of Revels on my deck list. So I was about to play the God in my deck.
Oh my gosh!
Completely by accident, because I forgot what this card's name was. Because of course I have it in foreign language, so it doesn't really help me when I go to write down deck lists.
Yeah.
And one of my friends is like, "Why are you playing that?" And I was like, "No, I'm playing the Planeswalker." They're like, "No, you wrote down the God." And I was like, "Oh man, I was gonna have to run to the car and dig through my EDH deck to go get a copy of it if I got deck checked or something."
Yeah.
So I came that close to actually playing with it.
Dude.
But back to this version of Xenagos. So his first ability is +1, and he adds any combination of red or green mana to your mana pool, equal number of creatures you have. So it's kind of like a mini Gaia's Cradle, which is really good. But my favorite mode of him is just 0 make a 2/2. And if anyone pays attention to Standard, they see how good Gideon is when he's just like, I'm just gonna, make a 2/2 knight. Xenagos makes 2/2s as well, and they have haste, which can be really good in any mid-range matchup, or he's just really good against some of the aggro decks. I've played him before and just made a stream of 2/2s every turn, and they could just never get through.
Yeah. Really good blocker, definitely, if someone goes to try to kill him with, like, points of aggro damage, and you're just like, make a 2/2 to block your Tarmogoyf or, like, whatever. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, like, talk about Planeswalkers. Liliana and Jace are, like, kind of dominating in terms of Planeswalkers in Modern, so a lot of people aren't really paying attention to other Planeswalkers, but I think Xenagos is, like, really cool. He's 3 mana, too, so...
4.
4 mana, Kaelid.
Yeah, 4.
Okay. Cool, that's it for the creatures. Now let's talk about the instants and sorceries. So, 4 Lightning Bolts.
Yeah, there's not really much to say. Lightning Bolt's Lightning
magic
Bolt. It's a
card.
really good magic card.
Yeah.
It's pretty okay.
Yeah.
It does things.
It does things. And then,
lights
like,
things on fire and such, whatever.
It does. Then it runs 4 Remands.
I hear that card's pretty good too.
Yeah.
It's really good with Snapcaster Mage.
Especially with the new Eldrazi deck.
Yeah,
we were just talking about this.
Yeah,
so,
we were talking about this a lot. I think this deck's actually pretty good at... I haven't tested too much against it, but in like game theory, this deck is actually pretty good at... Should be pretty good at beating the Eldrazi deck, because Remand is pretty good against a deck that only plays 1 spell a turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Later in the game, they could be playing 2, but... my Tarmogoyfs and my Thragtusks, and even Huntmaster the Fells at times can be just bigger than it. They have a really, really big problem getting through on the ground, and Xenagos is really good at making 2/2s. So is Huntmaster the Fells and Thragtusk, so, I mean, just in theory, this deck should have a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not only like you're running Remands, I mean, you're running like other counter spells, like we'll talk about a little bit later, running Spell Snare, and like also Venser, so you have other ways of like dealing with like their things, basically. So if you can like lock them down and then do, your things, you're fine. Then it runs 4 Serum Visions. I mean...
Yeah, it's like the worst cantrip ever
really
printed, but
bad.
it's the best one in Modern, and it's the only one they let us really play with, so it's unfortunately what we have to play with.
Yeah. I really hate talking about Serum Visions because it's just so, like, not good. I mean, like, I've seen some people, like, I've even thought about going, like, 2 Serum Visions and 2 Sleight of Hands.
I just don't like Sleight of Hand as a card. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean...
I just don't like it.
I know. Like, in that instance, Serum Visions is just better, but it's like...
Yeah, especially for, like, this deck that's full of one-of Serum Visions is a little bit better than Sleight of Hand.
Yeah.
It gets you a little bit further in, so lets you see a couple extra cards, which is just pivotal a lot of the times.
Absolutely. But, yeah. The deck runs 2 Spell Snares now. I'm not absolutely in love with Spell Snare, but I understand why it's a really good card. It counters a lot of really important stuff. Tarmogoyf, Snapcaster Mage, basically all of the other counter spells, Negate, Remand,
it counters all the other counter spells. It counters Snapcaster out of Jund, it counters Terminate, Dark Confidant, Scavenging Ooze. It just hits everything you could really want to hit. Spellskite even.
Yeah, Spellskite too.
Which can be a pain for a lot of decks. So
exactly. Even
mine, sometimes I have problems. It is a big butt.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to get through if I don't have a Tarmogoyf.
My personal thing, I don't think more than 2 Spell Snares ever. I think 2 is fine.
2 is the right number.
Yeah, definitely.
It counters 2 things. You know?
Basically.
Just things on 2, so there should only be 2.
Oh my goodness. Alright, cool. Then this card makes me laugh. I don't know what it's...
We're gonna start on this end.
Oh, we're gonna start on this end.
I wanna save the super secret tech for last. So we're gonna start with Dispel.
Which spell?
Dispel. Which one?
Dispel.
This one. Okay.
Okay.
Dispel, counter target instant spell. Now this card seems to should fall out of favor a little bit with Twin not being around. There's not too many blue decks around.
Agreed.
But I keep it in there because if you think about the format, there's just like you have Path to Exile, Kolaghan's Command, Terminate, Lightning, even Lightning Bolt out of like the against like your burn decks or infect decks. They go for a pump spell or a Lightning Bolt, and you just have a 1-mana cheap answer that deals with it. Especially against infect, because you go to bolt their guy and they go, no, I'm gonna play either a pump spell or a cheap counter spell, and you also have a cheap counter spell, which is important, super important in those like super aggressive matches to get their guys dead.
I really like one of a Dispel. It's in my sideboard for Grixis control, and like it's so good because they like tap out to play like Coco or something, and then you're like Dispel it, and then it's like they lose so much card advantage with it, so it's like super good. Mm-hmm. I don't really like any more of a one-off, especially because you're on Snapcaster Mage, so you just like Dispel and then Snapcaster, Dispel again. So
yeah, one's kind of the perfect number in the main deck. Sideboard, I'm running another one, but
yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Speaking of Coco, I have Anger the Gods. That card is
so good.
Unbelievable.
So good. Yeah.
I want more. I need to find a spot for a second one.
Yeah.
I played against Coco in the regionals, and they just grinded me out with Kitchen Finks. I just couldn't. Kitchen Finks is just too good at like just grinding out boards that shouldn't be grinded out. Like I had 2 Tarmogoyfs in play, and I just could not get through the stream of like Kitchen Finks plus Malira, but he didn't have the other piece.
Right.
And he couldn't get it because I had so many counter spells, but I couldn't get through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anger the Gods is super great. I run it in my sideboard in Grixis Control 2 of, and it is insane. Especially too when and I mean, maybe with Twin falling out of favor, Snapcaster Mage is not going to be as popular, but there's still decks that are definitely, I mean, like, you're running Blue and Modern, you're running Snapcaster Mage, so, like, being able to, like, exile the Snapcaster Mage so that they don't get, like, a potential recursion of Kolaghan's Command Snapcaster is just, like, really, really good. So, yeah. And it kills Kitchen Finks, which is just, like, one of, like, the best cards in Modern, so, yeah. And you do not want them gaining life.
No.
At all.
Depends on the deck. Depends on the deck. Yeah. No one likes when your opponent gains life. It's just, you're trying to get them to 0, and when they don't let you, it's just kind of annoying.
And you're like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, can you just fall over now?
Can you fall over? Die?
Just fall over and die now.
You should say that to, like, the next person you sit down with.
Can you just fall over and die now?
Dude, okay, so,
casual.
You know the show Gallivant that I was telling you about that I watch? It's like a sweet show. Okay, cool. So there's like this song and he's like singing it or whatever. And like he has a sword and he's like killing all these dudes. And he looks at one guy and he's singing and he's like, can you just fall over? And the guy just falls on the floor. It's like the
That's crazy.
That was really not related to anything ever.
No.
Okay, cool.
Kind of went off topic there.
Segue, right. Next card. What is that, Fork Bolt?
That is Fork Bolt.
Okay.
1 mana, 1 red mana sorcery. Deals It deals 2 damage divided as you choose between creatures and players. This card is super good, against Burn or Infect or even against
Affinity.
Affinity. I was getting there, but thanks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know that deck is broken AF. You know, Affinity. It's in the name. It's in the name. But yeah, Fork Bolt is just really good. It's actually not bad against the Eldrazi deck. If they do the broken start of double Eldrazi Mimic, just untapping and Fork Bolting is just so good.
Yeah.
It just helps in so many situations to just get them for one. And against like Jund, they tap out and play a Dark Confidant in turn 2, and you just get them and deal them 1.
You really want me to run this in my Grixis list instead of Electrolyze, but the reason why I really like Electrolyze is because it's instant speed, and you get to draw a card for 2 more mana, so, I don't know.
I was running Electrolyze in this deck.
You took it out.
I was already playing Fork Bolt and Electrolyze, and every time I had Electrolyze, I was like, oh, cool, it draws an extra card. But my deck doesn't run that many sorceries, so being able to run a sorcery for my Tarmogoyfs is mildly important, but also the fact that it's only 1 mana was super potent. I played against someone, and I was playing against Affinity, and they're like, turn 1, Ornithopter, Signal Pest, and I was just like, cool, untap, kill them both.
Yeah.
So I just 2 for 1 them with a 1-of.
Wait, how do you do that? Ornithopter.
Oh, sorry, Memnite.
Memnite, okay, okay.
I messed up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Next card is Roast. Roast is also a sorcery. Roast kills everything but Ornithopters, because Ornithopters fly, and Roast can't kill things that fly. But it's really good at killing Spellskite and just about every other creature in the format, including Tasigur.
Yeah, really
good at killing Tasigur.
Yeah, it is.
I hope you don't mind. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll try to get over it.
You know what card it does not kill? Olivia Valdarin. That card's crazy.
Dude, that card is really good.
I lost to it in regionals. It was...
No one runs that card.
I played against John. I lost to it. Just it.
Yeah.
I lost to just that card. I had him spread on everything else. I just could not beat that card.
Yeah, Roast is really good. I like it a lot as a 1-of. Like, doesn't hit everything, but I think being able to hit a card like Tasigur or something, or like a Gurmag Angler. Yeah, Gurmag Angler is like really good.
You know what else it kills?
What?
Thought-Knot-Seer.
It does kill Thought-Knot-Seer.
It also kills Reality Smasher.
It does.
At the cost of another card, which is not too cool. But it does kill it kills almost every single creature in that deck.
Yeah, basically.
With the exception of like if they're still playing Sideboard Oblivion Sowers, which I don't know why they bring them in this matchup, but it kills everything except Oblivion Sower.
Yeah. It also does not kill Wormcoil Engine.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
It's kind of weird. I mean, I guess you could like theoretically like Fork Bolt Roast.
Yeah, most of the time with Wormcoil Engine,
you're just like Bounding Krasis.
Yeah, you're like Bounding Krasis. You're going over it, or you're doing some tricky plays with like Venser and weird things.
Yeah.
Bolting your own guy just to get through it. There's a lot of time. Yeah, if they don't have Natural Tron, this deck with Tarmogoyfs and Thragtusk and Bounding Krasis can just stall them out enough that they get them low enough that the Wormcoil ends up not mattering.
Yeah.
Especially if they're Sideboard, they have so much like anti the rest of that deck hate, so that when it comes out of Wormcoil, it's just so easy to deal with because I've already dealt with everything else.
Yeah, good point. And now we're gonna talk about like Ginger's like favorite card in this
Alright,
deck.
so this card is just a really bad burn spell. But it's a card called Tarfire. It's a 1 mana red instant.
Excuse me, Tribal Instant.
Oh yeah.
It's the most important part of the game.
Yeah, but I was saving it for last. I was slow rolling the tribal part. You just Kanye'd me, alright?
I'm gonna let you finish, but
I'm gonna ruin the ending. Okay, so it deals 2 damage to a creature or a player. It is an instant and can be Snapcastered. It's a cheap burn spell in the aggro matchups. And as Tracy pointed out, it is a tribal card, and I'm playing Tarmogoyf, and Tarmogoyf gets bigger for tribal cards.
Dude, you know what I just realized? If you decide to run the other Xenagos in your deck and it goes to the graveyard somehow...
I can get it all the way up.
Yeah!
I've had, in this deck, I've had a Tarmogoyf to a 7-9, and I blew out my opponent, or 7-8, and I blew out my opponent with it. I was playing against Affinity, and he goes, okay, I'm like attack with my 6-7 Goyf, because I had the Tarfire in the graveyard already, and, you know, he knew about it. And I'm like, okay, attack with my Goyf, and he's like, alright, cool. Animate 2 Blink Moth Nexuses, double block, pump my other Nexus, and I'm like, okay, cool. I already know what's happening. So it was like, cool. I was like, cool. Tarmogoyf takes 3 damage. And he's like, okay, cool. Galvanic Blast it, which would kill Tarmogoyf under normal situations.
Right.
But I had a Desolate Lighthouse in play. And I discarded Xenagos. And
oh my gosh.
I drew another card, and then I discarded Xenagos.
Dude.
And it became a 7-8 and just ate that burn spell to the face. And was just like, just shrugged it off. He's just like, shake it off, you know? It was so cool.
You made like 2 Taylor Swift references in the course of like 2 minutes, and I'm really, really proud of you.
I don't know what you're talking about. At all. Who's this Taylor Swift?
Justin calls me that sometimes. He's like, T-Swift! I'm like, I'm not a pop singer. Yet.
Alright, so we'll get to the boring part of the deck.
Lands.
Which is lands.
Yeah, not super exciting.
So boring.
Yeah, they are really boring.
Alright, I don't know if I have this land base cracked yet.
Mana's weird.
Mana is so weird in this deck. Because I'm playing so many 1-ofs that have so many weird mana costs. Just like 1s and 2s. And on like turn 1 you want blue and red. And then by turn 2 you need green. And then turn 3 you maybe want double blue. Or maybe blue, green, and red. It's weird.
Yeah.
So, I have a 1-of Lumbering Falls. This is a card I've been testing out.
Really
It
good.
was a Treetop Village for a while.
I like Lumbering Falls so much better.
I know, but Treetop Village only activates for 2.
Yeah.
It's a really good tempo guy, but Lumbering Falls is just really good at beating face, and just nobody can stop him.
Yeah, the fact that it's hexproof just really, really makes this card.
Yeah, that's why I played it. Also, I was looking to see if I could fit another Hinterland Harbor in the deck, and then one of my friends was just like, why don't you just play Lumbering Falls instead of Treetop? And I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
it's probably just better.
Manlands are just like the way to go. So good. Yeah. 2 mountains.
1 forest. And an island. 2 islands. Sorry.
Yeah.
Those are just... You need basics in this format.
Absolutely.
Path to Exile is a card. Blood Moon's a card. My mana base can actually... If I added another island or another forest instead of one of my mountains, I could actually play Blood Moon out of the sideboard in this deck. Just the way I have this mana base constructed is I could play around Blood Moon or play with Blood Moon, and it really wouldn't bother me.
I mean...
I just don't own Blood Moons, so...
I think, like, you're doing Crumble to Dust. And,
yeah,
like,
I'm doing Crumble, which is probably just better.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have 3 Sulfur Falls and 2 Hinterland Harbors.
Buddy Lands are awesome.
Buddy Lands are really sweet.
So good. The fact that you can get them off with your Shock Lands, too, which is just, like, really, really fantastic. So, such a good turn 2 land. You don't have to hurt yourself for it.
Yeah. And then our Shock Lands are a 1-of Stomping Ground, a 1-of Breeding Pool, and 2 Steam Vents. The blue-red's the most important. I mean, the green is so little in this deck. It's, like, in the main deck, it's 4 Tarmogoyfs, and then, like, a Thragtusk Krasis. It's the hardest card to cast in this entire deck.
Absolutely.
Which has come up a couple times. I've been super sad that I can't cast Ewit.
Yeah.
It's the only card you really need green, double. It's the only card you need double green for, but everything else is just 1 green, so, like, the green lands you only need 1 of, but the blue-red lands, being able to cast bolts and remands at your leisure, also leaving up a lot of blue mana, makes your opponent think you have Cryptic Command, which this deck does not play anywhere in the 75, but a lot of people think you have it, and they play differently.
Yeah.
Which is just an edge you get by A, playing a rogue deck, but B, just playing blue in general. Your opponent is just, like, so scared of what you could be playing.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, like, I think, too, like, the deck would get really greedy, I think, if you're trying to do Cryptic Command. I think, like, the Kiki-Jiki, the triple blue there, the triple red there, and then, like, the I just think it gets too clunky to do that.
Yeah, Kiki-Jiki almost never gets cast. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's just, like, a cute little thing. It is super easy to cast in this deck, which is like